Good morning from our second day in Barcelona. Today we are headed to Sagrada Familia and Montserrat.
I know, big day.
Big day, for sure. So about to head down and get some breakfast before heading out on our coach bus to Sagrada Familia.
So let's adventure with Disney.
Indeed. After taking all of our pictures from the exterior, it was time to be awed by La Sagrada Familia, the basilica that is Gaudi's most famous design, featuring unique towers which are visible from every vantage point in the city. This Gothic Art Nouveau church, with its fantastical shapes and spires, has become the enduring symbol of Barcelona. This basilica, which has been under construction since 1882, is absolutely stunning. There is just so many details everywhere you look. The construction on this first facade, which is the Nativity facade, first began in 1891, and as the name suggests, it depicts the Nativity scene, or the birth of Jesus Christ. And it seems as though the closer you look at it, the more detailed things get. It is just absolutely beautiful. There's even this model outside the basilica, which shows the intended final completed structure, with the gray being what is completed, and the yellowish color being what is still yet to be built. So it is unbelievable how much is still remaining to be built after so many years. We also learned that Antoni Gaudi loved nature and wanted to represent that, so since the basilica is between the Mediterranean and the mountains, at the base of the pillars on the Nativity facade are some turtles that face the Mediterranean. Such a small detail, but yet so thoughtful to his devotion to nature. It was then time to head inside the beautiful and very impressive basilica at La Sagrada Familia, and this was truly breathtaking. Just seeing all the light coming in, really could see how Antoni Gaudi loved both religion and nature. He picked the stained glass windows to represent different times of the day, the different winter and summer solstices. So the windows that face the east are colored blue and green, so when the sun rises, it fills the basilica with colors of blue and green, and the other side of the basilica is a lot of the warmer tones, the reds, the oranges, the yellows, so when the sun sets, all of these colors flood the basilica. This was truly beautiful. We loved seeing all the stained glass and the light coming in through the stained glass. Gaudi also really wanted this to be a place for everybody to come worship, so he incorporated different names of significant churches around the world into the windows. So we saw one window that was St. Peter's Basilica, to represent St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, Italy, as well as Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France. The altar itself was huge and beautiful as well, located in the center of the basilica, and during our tour we were fortunate enough to hear the beautiful melodies of the organ for La Sagrada Familia. And then finally, continuing all the way through the basilica, we come to the rear facade, which is the Passion facade, depicting the Passion of the Christ, so Jesus Christ's death and resurrection. And as you can see, the statues here look a bit different than the front, and this is actually because this facade was built after Antoni Gaudi's death, so this was a completely different architect and artist. It is still an absolutely beautiful work of art, complete with the risen Jesus sitting atop the cathedral looking down on all the visitors. While the Nativity facade is far more detailed than the Passion facade, it is still nice to see how this really completes the story, where you have the Nativity at the beginning, walking through, kind of experiencing Jesus' life and teachings, and then ending with the Passion of the Christ. It kind of completes the whole story of Jesus Christ, which was really well thought out by Gaudi when he was designing this beautiful masterpiece. Something else we learned in our tour of La Sagrada Familia was that although it is very tall, it is not quite as tall as Montjuic, and that is because Gaudi believed that only God could create structures that were tall enough to reach the heavens, and Montjuic being the tallest point in Barcelona, he wanted to make his structure just shy of that height. So very interesting and very touching. Again, it just shows how Gaudi was truly a genius of his time. We were then given just a little bit of free time, so we decided to explore the museum underneath the basilica for just a little bit. So we got to see the timeline and the history of building La Sagrada Familia, which was very cool to see all of that, as well as all of the tools that were used in the construction process, which was kind of amazing to see that they used such small and simple tools to build this amazing structure. There was also a display of all of the different colors of stained glass that were used in the basilica, which was very impressive. And then just outside the museum was a little schoolhouse, so we decided to give this little tour, and we got to see what a classroom looked like in the early 1900s for the children of all the builders of La Sagrada Familia, which was very cool to see. And with this, that kind of wrapped up our tour of La Sagrada Familia, so we made our way as a group back to the buses, on to our next stop. So after our lovely visit to La Sagrada Familia, it was time to make our way out of the city of Barcelona to Montserrat. And Montserrat is named as such because of it being kind of a serrated mountain range. And we first stopped at the funicular station, which is a little train, and this was going to take us all the way up to the top of Montserrat to visit the monastery. And once we reached the funicular station at the top of Montserrat, we made our way as a group to our first stop of this tour, which was lunch. So lunch today was at one of the hotels in Montserrat, and we had a private room set aside for just the Adventures by Disney group, and we're treated to a lovely glass of local Montserrat wine, as well as some non-alcoholic drinks. So we tried some Spanish Coke, as well as a lemon Fanta. We started with our appetizer, which was a house salad with local cheese, and then their dressing was a pesto dressing, since pesto is very common in the Mediterranean. For our entree, we were treated to a traditional Spanish Christmas dish, which was cannelloni, so cannelloni pasta stuffed with ground chicken, pork, and beef, topped with a bechamel sauce and cheese, and baked. And since Hannah does not eat beef, they were able to accommodate, and she was given the fish dish, which was a white fish served with some beans. And for dessert, we were treated to the house sorbet, and the sorbet this afternoon was raspberry. But as a little extra treat, it was topped with some local Montserrat cava, which made this dish so delightful. And then, of course, finished the meal with a lovely shot of espresso. So after lunch, it was time to really explore all that Montserrat had to offer. Specifically, the mystical Santa Maria de Montserrat, a Benedictine monastery embedded in the mountainside. And we were able to tour the cathedral here, which was absolutely stunning. It was actually founded in the year 1025. So this was absolutely surreal to be walking around a place that was almost 1,000 years old. The cathedral itself was absolutely beautiful, and what it is most famous for is the 12th century Black Virgin, or the Black Madonna, which is a statue of the Virgin Mary. And this statue is located behind the altar, raised up on the second floor, so you can actually walk behind and get up close to the Virgin Mary herself. And after our tour through the beautiful cathedral, we were also treated to some amazing views from the village of Montserrat, looking down from the mountainside at all the villages below. Stunning views, panoramic, just very breathtaking. We have not experienced anything like this before, This is kind of our first experience with mountains in general, so really just stunning and an amazing experience. And after touring the church in Montserrat, we headed over to the funicular station to go up even further to the top of the mountain for some breathtaking views. This was an optional part of the tour, but most of the group did decide to do this extra stop up at the top. So we took the funicular up to the very top of Montserrat, and the views up here were absolutely stunning. Just panoramic, beautiful views of the mountains and the land below. You could not see Barcelona from up here, however, the views were still absolutely stunning. And this kind of wrapped up our tour of Montserrat and really the Adventures by Disney portion of this day. So after this, we headed back down the mountain and back to the bus where we received our pin of the day, which the pin of the day for today was Chippendale for La Vida de Catalonia, since today was really exploring all of the Catalan traditions, so La Sagrada Familia and Montserrat. We also received an extra gift, and it was a little charm from the monastery of Our Lady of Montserrat, or the Black Madonna. So very cool, very nice end to our day with Adventures by Disney. Okay, so we are back in our room after a very full, packed day. First full day of Adventures by Disney. But yeah, lovely day. We saw Sagrada Familia. We went to Montserrat.
Yes.
Long drive up to Montserrat.
Yes.
But still very cool to see.
Lots of people napped on the way.
Yes. There and back. But very cool to see all the history behind the churches, both Sagrada Familia and Montserrat, and just the detail in all the sculptures and everything that are just so old. Hundreds of years old.
Well, we've just never seen anything like that in person.
Right.
So it was really incredible to see the artwork, the craftsmanship. There's so much just skill and love and labor that went into everything that we saw today.
Yes.
And I don't know that that can be matched in the United States.
No.
So for us, it's just been a really incredible experience and gift to be able to have such incredible service.
Yes.
To just guide us along the way and let us see these things.
If there's two things that we've taken so far from this experience, it is number one, Barcelona is beautiful.
Yes.
And number two, Adventures by Disney is amazing.
Yes.
And I think we said in the video yesterday, but from before we took off from Paris, because our flight was delayed, the service texting us saying, like, we're tracking your flight, we're waiting for you, don't worry about it, we're here. Today, both of our guides walked around with backpacks full of Band-Aids, meds, kind of anything you might need. On the bus.
Snacks and water on the bus.
Yes.
Just anything you could want or need. They have an answer to any question.
Yeah.
And it's just, you get to sit back and relax.
Yeah. And the bus is yours for the day, so you can leave your stuff on the bus while you're exploring, which is fantastic.
You worked so hard to plan Paris, and you did a wonderful job. But you deserved this.
It's nice.
You deserved a vacation. This is probably the closest to a real vacation that we've ever had together, because
there's no planning involved in your end.
They
just kind of show up.
Take care of everything.
Even tonight, we had free time on our own, and they were willing to give you recommendations. We actually got back a little bit later than expected because we hit some traffic, and somebody in the group said, like, hey, we had a reservation at this time at this restaurant. And the guy was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. We'll give them a call, and we'll change the reservation for you. Like,
what?
It is insane level of service, but it is fantastic.
We're getting incredibly spoiled.
Yes.
I don't know how we're ever going to go back.
Yes.
So, I don't know.
It's been absolutely wonderful. But because mentioning the on our own time, we just had a lovely dinner.
We did.
right around the corner from our hotel is an Indian restaurant, which I know we're in Spain, but we're getting some delicious Spanish food on the trip, so I figured we would break it up a little bit. And
we knew that we were going to be taken to the best places in the city.
Right.
And we knew if we were on our own that we would not probably pick the best places in the city.
Yeah.
So wanted to take a break from Spanish cuisine, and
since we're still getting 4 Spanish meals
right.
in the course of 2 days, or 3 days.
3 days.
So.
But just try a new cuisine, and one of our guides said that there's actually a large Indian and Pakistani population here in Barcelona. So we were really excited to be able to support an Indian restaurant while we were here.
Yeah, and absolutely wonderful. Service was phenomenal.
Everyone was so nice.
Yes.
Literally so nice. They put rose petals on their table. They offered to take our picture.
Yeah.
Just really incredibly kind people working at this restaurant.
And they have some good menu options. They have tasting menus, so you can try a little bit of everything, which is what we did.
We are so full.
Yes. And tried the cava sangria, because we've learned we really like cava.
We do like cava.
Cava is specific to Barcelona, or at least to Spain. Basically like a champagne's cousin. But, yeah.
It's a little sweeter typically.
Yeah. So.
But the sangria was very good. Dangerous.
Very dangerous.
And we ordered a pitcher that they called a jug.
Yes.
And it was €22.
Yeah.
For an absolutely massive pitcher of sangria.
All in for a huge pitcher of sangria, and then we each had a 3-course meal tasting menu. Mine had a little bit more options for the entree portion.
I got a smaller one and still couldn't finish it all.
Yeah, it was so much food.
So much food and so good.
But all in for the sangria and 2 3-course tasting menu meals was €77, which is
if we had been staying longer,
great value.
Right? If we'd been staying longer and had access to a fridge and microwave, we would have taken leftovers home.
Yeah,
we would have had it again. It was probably the best Indian food I've ever had.
Yeah.
Not that we
don't have very much experience, but
we do. We love Indian food when we can get it.
Mm-hmm.
But there aren't a ton of options close to us. But this was easily the best Indian food I've ever had.
Yeah.
So
For
really
sure.
excited to have it, and just we would go back.
Yeah.
If we were to do it all again, we would go back, I think.
For sure. But yeah. Kind of an earlier night for us tonight, but
thank goodness.
After all of the stuff that's been going on, we are excited to have a little bit of a break. We get to sleep in a little bit more tomorrow too, starting a bit later. Won't share what we're doing tomorrow until tomorrow, or next week's video. But
we might strut like we mean it and free our minds. But I don't know.
There you go. If you know that reference, then you know one of the places we're going to be going. So, yeah.
Tired, full, sleepy.
Indeed.
And just happy. I feel like
this has been fantastic.
We loved Paris. We loved Disneyland Paris. This service has just been incredible. ABD has been incredible. And this just feels like we're on vacation.
Yes, for sure. Definitely agree with that.
Which means it's time to rest.
Because time
we're on vacation.
So that will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
See you real soon.